Let's answer a hard-hitting question of the day, and it is, how did Manav manage to win YCS Columbus with Pure Sky Striker? Why this build over other builds? And I wanted to go through and analyze his deck and kind of talk about the intricate pieces that kind of led Manav to victory this past weekend. So what is up, guys? I'm Forty here. I was having a discussion with Manav. I'm talking about some of the OCG concepts and how you can look at the OCG and evolve their concept and ideas to the TCG, and that's exactly what Manav did. Mentioned to me that taking some of their ideas, transitioning them over here, is the way to go. And I think a lot of people have this mentality block towards this idea. I've mentioned this several times, that you can look to the OCG at certain points in their formats, and you can see that concepts and ideas from there can transition over into our game. I don't care if you believe this or not, but many players throughout the years have done exactly this. An idea from the OCG has been brought over into the TCG, very transitioned, and bada bing, bada boom, it was successful. So one of the particular things I like to bring up as a reference to has been Desires. The more recent builds before the October ban list, we're playing 2 copies of Desires. More or less a means to help accelerate the deck. Now, obviously in the mirror match, Desires is a no-go. Like, this card kinda sucks. But to be honest with you, outside of that and every other matchup, helping generate that extra advantage, compressing down the library to make sure that you can get 2 additional resources, this card is insanely good. Now, one of the things that Manav did for this weekend was he did take advantage of the 1 copy of Ghost Spell. I think a lot of people were very curious to know just what Goki was going to do this weekend. And just not to be caught with your pants down against Magical Midfield Breaker, Manav opted to play the 1 copy of Ghost Spell, being able to effectively still shut off Goki Rematch through the effect of Ghost Spell and Haunted Mansion. Definitely a very big powerhouse card, just so much more availability to you. Now, his hand traps being 2 Ash, 1 Veiler, 1 Ghost Spell, and triple Ghost Ogre, you kind of get that diversity feel here. It just kind of makes sure that when you're setting up, you have pretty much everything to cover your bases. Now, I'm not a super big fan of Effect Failure, but I understand why he opted for it. Just having the additional pressure generation is definitely something that I think a lot of people might have kind of stayed away from. It's not particularly good underneath the old Magical Midfield Breaker, but still nonetheless a very powerful card nonetheless. Now, something else that a lot of the TCG was straying away from was Skyblaster. I've heard nothing but terrible things about this card until it came to Manav. That was the thing that truly made Manav's list much different from everybody else's. Manav was still playing Skyblaster. Now, with Skyblaster, you get the ability to generate tokens. Those tokens allow you to climb the link ladder, ITT, make a Boral Sword, make an attempt to kill your opponent, or access any of your other resource pools to make sure that you can do that. I think a lot of people kind of forgot that this card was pretty good, but when you're playing nothing but constant mirror matches and things like that, this card just generates this really weird amount of pressure that can just put your opponent on tilt. And I will say that I think Skyblaster was a really interesting resource for him to have been playing this weekend. Now, another thing that made Manav's list really weird to a lot of people was the fact that he was playing a lot of one-ofs. 1 Called by the Grave. I mean, in theory, and if you're playing in a 17-round tournament, I guess a 1-of is as good as a 2-of in this really weird scenario, because effectively, if you draw it, you draw it. If you don't draw it, you don't draw it. It's just kind of one of those, I will see it less, but it should still come up at the right time. It's a really weird mentality to me, but it seems like it worked out for him. So 1 strange 1-of was Called by the Grave. Another really strange 1-of was 1 Terraforming. Looking at his ratios here, 1 Terraforming, 2 Field Spells looks to probably be correct, at least for his generalized opinion. I don't see any, once again, there's no issues with it. You see it, you don't want to get too clogged down with these, and it's not like it can't be another card in the main deck. And then, of course, another really strange 1-of was the 1 Heavy Storm Duster. But if you're going into a tournament like this and you're planning for the meta to just be everybody playing Sky Striker, nobody knows what the build is, like the clen de la clen, the best of the best. Heavy Storm Duster kind of just gives you that massive blowout advantage. And I mean, this card just wrecks Altergeist. So that's something else to understand when you're looking at this build. Techie cards get you there. And then every Sky Striker player I've heard for this format was just staying away from this card. I have not seen Solemn Strike be a normalized norm in a very, very long time. Once again, you're going into a 17-round tournament. You don't know how developed Goki's going to be. You don't know what you're going to be dealing with in terms of Altergeist. So why not try this and put more pressure on the opponent? I definitely think that this was a good choice. Something else that stood out weird to me on Manav's list is Eagle Booster. So I can already tell you that Eagle Booster as a card everybody's going to start playing this. You should be playing it as a 1-up. But when you play the mirror match and against a Goki, this card gives you a little bit more pressure. So if you control monsters in your main monster zone, target one face-up monster on the field. That target is unaffected by card effects this turn, except its own, and then if you have 3 or more spells in your graveyard, cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. Interesting example of this. Finals, Eagle Booster on the monster. Unless your opponent has Cyber Dragon, they can't really out it and try to U-Link you. Your fatty's going to stay right where your fatty needs to be, taking up that zone for you to make sure you can play the game on the next turn. Just something very interesting to note, though. Eagle Booster is gaining a lot of popularity. Even in like the builds that we're playing Ibly. This is something I ran into this weekend. They give you the Ibly, you try to multi-roll away. Eagle Booster target the Ibly, and you're stuck in dead water. Just cool little combo things and little integral parts like that can kind of get you there. Now, something else to note here. I've heard a lot of discrepancies between 3 multi-roll and 2, and I've heard a lot of people swear that you need 3 multi-roll for the mirror. The only reason that I feel that you would need 3 is to ensure that you can draw it in your opening hand, because understand negating or shutting off your opponent's card effects from interacting with you is absolutely critical. But are you really planning for the game to grind out that long that you feel that you are going to need 3? Do you see what I'm saying here? If you can finish the game quick enough with your built-in tech choices, like Phantom Skyblaster, then you shouldn't have any issue with the particulars, especially in this day and age. So that's something else too. Just a lot of theory and crafting between like certain ratios and things like that that I find relatively interesting. So we'll just run through Manav's main deck here. So 2 Ash, 1 Effect Veiler, 1 Ghost Belt, 2 Ogre, 2 Skyblaster, triple Ray, 1 Called by the Grave, 2 Desires, 1 Rhoda, 2 Shared by the Red. If you're not playing some copies of this for the main deck, or for the mirror, you're going to just have a really bad time. Something I learned this weekend. 2 Area Space 0, 1 Afterburners, 2 Eagle Booster, 1 Hornet Drones, 1 Shark Cannon, triple Widow Anchor, 2 Multi-Roll, triple Engage, 1 Terraforming, 2 Twin Twisters, 1 Upstart, 1 Duster, 2 Infinite Impermanence, and 2 Strike. Alright, extra deck. So the extra deck, there's not a lot to talk about here. I mean, Space Insulator's okay. Triple Shizuku, triple Kagari, 2 Hayate. I've heard a lot of arguments for 3. I mean, if you got the extra deck space, do it. It kind of depends. Manav and a few other people showed that 2, and a lot of other people showed that 3 worked out. It's just, you kind of pick your poison, actually, with this. I haven't heard the great debate about this, but I mean, having that extra toolbox space could come in handy. And then, of course, Nin Nin, Link Spider, Unicorn, Phoenix, and Isolde and Boral Sword. Now, interesting to note, in the side deck, I had 1 additional copy of Ghost Bell. Honestly, this seems pretty fucking good. Making sure that you have that extra out for Goki, pretty good. Now, 2 copies of Ghost Reaper. This card kind of sucks in the mirror. So, like, the card's good, but it can be bad. And this is one of those really weird scenarios. Because, cool, you kill their Kagari, but, I mean, how much advantage do you actually generate off of it? I mean, you paralyze your opponent, slow them down, but if your opponent starts capitalizing advantage off of you, you're still going to have a really bad time. So, very interesting card, but hitting the Isolde, definitely what his go-to plan was. 2 Mind Control. This card's probably going to become a staple this format. I'm already feeling this in a lot of ways. Being able to take your opponent's Sky Striker, link out with it, it's TCG loves this. Jamming Waves on the side. This card kind of just sucks right now. I mean, you've seen where everybody's already cut Hercules base, so there's no real point in just continuing on with that. One Twin Twister, pretty standard. Triple Different Dimension Ground. This came over from last format. We're still on the same hype here. Another Heavy Storm Duster for more back row removal. Both of these for Ultrageist and other back row heavy formats. Mind Crush, because we hate Trickstar. And then Typhoon. Typhoon, once again, for those of you that don't know what you're using this for, you're using this for when your opponent goes multi-roll, starts trying to set up, you just Typhoon away from your hand, you kill the multi-roll so that they can't set. It's a built-in means to make sure that you can pressure out the mirror match and set yourself up to a much better position. And I will say that this card, it's not like nobody knew about this going into the weekend, but I mean, pretty much everybody was citing it, at least two, between all of your tech options and everything like that. So it's something to understand in the grand scheme of things. Typhoon is pretty much going to be a side staple at this point in time for probably the rest of the format, just for what it does for the deck. So, but anyway, honestly, these key choices are why I think Manavs won the event. The deck looks fucking weird on paper, I'm gonna be honest with you, but those OCG concepts coming in clutch. It's a little bit of the OCG, a little bit of the TCG, kind of combine them together. Bada bing, bada boom. You know, somebody's got to have some success at the end of the day. So guys, please leave a comment down below. Tell me what you guys think about Manavs' victory. And guys, I'm out. Peace. The ride never ends, guys. Make sure you enable those notifications to get the latest videos that are being posted on this channel. Make sure you guys check out VanCole40 for my Cardfight Vanguard channel. And join me and House of Champions on the Zodiac Duelist TV Twitch stream. We'll be interacting with our audiences. And please check out No Limit Gaming and LGTCG.com for the cheapest trading cards on the market. Thanks for watching, guys, and please have a good day.